This is a tutorial of how to set up LumiBrush. So begin by going into Tools and clicking Setup. And this will set up based on which render pipeline you are currently using. So I hit this button and it unpackage the URP folder from the package there. Next step is to add LumiBrush to the scene. So when I do that, I can close this LumiBrush window. So now what it did was it added the LumiBrush object and a light. Now there's basically two ways to design light with LumiBrush. Either like it is right now, it's dark and all the sprites and paintings that are added acts like light in the map. Or we can set it to use a white light mask. And when we use this, then we need to add sprites or painting that is darker. So it's kind of like multiplying or adding light. I almost always go with the dark mode. This button, update on runtime, we can enable and disable. If it's on, then we can animate the light and the sprites on runtime. But if we don't need to use that, we can unclick it. We can also set the light cookie size. This sets how big the light cookie will be, because even if it's a directional light, it uses a light cookie. So if you have a really big scene, I recommend to not use a too big cookie, but rather move the directional light with the camera or the character to have like a follow transform or something like that. But now with this dark setup, we can now add a spotlight or a directional light. So I'm going to remove that one. So here we have a light brush light. And the next step is to start creating the lighting. And I usually prefer to use sprites when I'm starting out. So now I added this light sprite. It's really small, so let's scale it up. And now we can see that it dictates where light appears. And I can duplicate this, move it around over here. And now we see a little bit of jittering here. It's because both of them are alpha, so they are C-fighting. You can either move it up or down or change to additive. And that solves that issue. So now we can move sprites around. We can change color. Or if we don't want this simple circle, we can just pick any kind of texture and have it being lit with a texture. So this is the basic setup. And then it's just to play around and light the scene in whatever style you want. But remember, as I said, if you have a big scene, then make sure that the directional light is moved with the character or the light. Let's see if I can make an example of this. So if I make this like 2, so you can see how the light isn't using the sprite if it's outside of the light cookie. So that's the basic setup and how to get started with LumiBrush.